just general statement. I think this, I thought it was going to be our best class. I mean, every year it just keeps seeming to get better. I think the national coverage, the TV, the bowl games all helps, obviously, in all that. And I think every year you we've kind of improved and been able to compete on a little higher level of kid. And I think also the quality of the kid every year seems to be going a little higher too, as far as his academic work, his character, and all those kind of things. So all that is very positive. I think the coaching staff has done a great job of identifying the kids that fit into what we do, and you know, we kind of have a way of doing it, and we've had a lot of success for a lot of years, and we just keep trying to get better every year. And I think, like I said, this class is a cut above the ones that we've had the previous 2 years for sure. So with that, I'll just open it up to questions.
What do you consider the strength of this year's class?
I think the defensive players and the size of the offensive line, the depth of the offensive line, kids are a cut above what we've had. I think the athleticism of, in general, the whole class is better. We have some linebackers that can really run, some safeties that might be receivers, some, you know, different kids that are you know, very, very just good athletes. That's probably the strength. I think the quarterback is going to be a special player too. I think as you look at his highlight tapes, I'm sure you guys all will get him, but he's a pretty gifted player.
Did the move to the Big East alter the kind of athlete that you went after?
No, not really. I think the Big East thing will help in the future, probably more so than this class. We pretty much had identified the kids that we wanted to recruit already prior to even that announcement.
You mentioned the incoming quarterback. You can't talk about maybe all the quarterbacks you'll have this season, but how do you feel with Kyle transferring about your quarterback situation now?
Yeah, you know, we feel very comfortable. You know, we are going to end up with the kids with athleticism and the ability to do what we need them to do. So, I mean, you have to prove it come game day, because there's a lot of unknowns now. Kyle was our guy that probably had played, at least in what we do. But, you know, I've been there before, done that, so I have pretty much, and Dan has too, confidence in what will happen with the kids coming in.
Most of your guys are from Texas, but several from other states. You know, 4 years in now, how do you feel about your connection with high school, or with Texas high school coaches? And do you want to make more inroads? Will Jason Phillips contribute to that? Different parts of Texas?
The question was about Jason Phillips, Texas recruiting. I feel like we've made inroads every year. You know, you still continue to do that. I think competing on, you know, some of the kids, you know, SMU doesn't have a chance to recruit, but we're slowly breaking down some of those, you know, walls. And you only do that through time and the relationships with the coaches, you know, our coaches with the coaches in the high schools. And Jason has a great reputation for what he did at Houston, and has recruited Houston, Louisiana, and the Dallas area. So he's very familiar with everybody that, and they know him. So that's a positive step.
Coach, Jason Phillips had 7 receivers over the last 4 years have over 1,000 yards. Will your receivers that you picked up this year make an immediate impact?
I think a couple of them will have a chance to contribute. Yes, we're pretty solid. We had some redshirt kids last year that we think will step right in to fill the void. I think the Colin Lagasse kid reminds me of Beasley, maybe even a little studlier than Cole. I mean, when I say studlier, a little bit stronger, but the same type of kid, quick and fast. He was more of a running back, I think, and built a little heavier. But yes, I think Jason will have an impact. he played for me, and his work ethic as a coach is exactly like it was as a player, and he demands a lot. Two of his best players, by the way, over the last couple of years were walk-ons for him, and I think he can identify who can play and who can't, and he'll contribute a lot to what we do.
Also, 4 years in, can you predict how many of these guys you want to have to play this fall, or do you want to redshirt most of them?
Well, we would like to. I think offensive line-wise, we'll have some kids that will play. We have 7 or 8 kids on campus, but I would think a couple of these kids will compete for starting jobs also. And, I think the rest of them, we're going to probably be able to redshirt more than we have, but I do think a couple of these kids, in particular on the defensive side of the ball, really improve our athleticism on special teams. Yeah, as you guys know, the special teams are mostly our defensive backup players, and every year we keep getting a little better because of the depth at linebacker and safeties and corners and that type of thing.
Did you and your staff specifically target offensive linemen who play out of a 2-point stance like your guys do?
No, nobody really plays the way we do. You just kind of have to project that. But over the years, we've had a lot of success in the O-line with kids, and so I don't anticipate that will be any different, this year.
Can you read anything into adding guys named Law and Justice to your secondary?
Yeah, Ty Law is a really interesting kid. He played both sides of the ball and is a real good athlete. I kind of would like him to try playing receiver. I think he wants to play DB, but I think anytime you get a kid that can get the ball in the end zone, you got to try to do that. He returned punts. He played running back. He played corner, obviously. And Justice is a bit, tall kid, good basketball player, very, very good athlete, and he's really a solid safety. And I would think that he would not redshirt. And whether Ty does or not just depends on how he does at corner, because I think we're starting to get some depth at corner.
How many of the guys in this class do you envision at least considering at multiple positions?
The Randolph kid, the safety, and Ty Law. Those are 2. And also Nick Reed I think Nick Reed is the sleeper of this whole thing. At 280 pounds, Mace found him at a small school, and when you see his highlight, I think he's a kind of a Cortez Kennedy type player, and I think he could start at running back for us at 270 pounds. When you watch him run, it's pretty incredible. He's probably got a shot to go pro in baseball, and he plays basketball too. That'd give you an idea what kind of athlete he is.
You mentioned Randolph as someone possible multiple positions. Are you talking safety and offense or safety and linebacker?
Safety and receiver.
Receiver.
Yeah.
Okay.
With the move to the Big East, Coach, you're going to play in every time zone.
Mm-hmm.
With that type of exposure, you have kids from 5 other states this year in your class. How's that type of exposure going to benefit you?
Well, I think it's going to help us immensely. It's already, and I said it hasn't really affected, but it did affect us a little, like Ty Law, for example. And we had another kid in Florida that we didn't get, but actually I thought we would get because he was going to play against, kids he grew up with now at South Florida, Central Florida, all the schools in that area. Same thing, I got a call today from a good friend who played with the Jets in Trenton, New Jersey, that has a kid. So, I mean, all of a sudden, that connection opens up a whole new, group of kids that you can go up and recruit a kid out of New York City this time of year, bring him down here, and it's 70 degrees. I mean, that makes a little bit of a difference, and they get to go home and play play against their childhood, alma maters. So